is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, happy update to you.
Hey, right back at you, buddy. Sliding in at the last minute like I usually do.
No warm-up.
I know,
No
man.
jumping jacks, no shadow boxing.
Crudy, such a big show today. I know Fancy Brian was busy doing other things, so I had to pull some sound. Lots of sound out in the world today. We're going to play some of it for our fine audience.
I'm not clear that we will. We're going to leave it all on the floor. We're just going to waste your entire effort through
After
the day.
all that, well, hell, you know, that's show business, baby.
Before we jump into this big show, Dom, let's talk about your booking for tomorrow's big show.
What?
All credit goes to you for this one. You
I
take
know.
it. You own it.
Where you been this week, Crudy, man? I got Milwaukee County DA, was that yesterday? And tomorrow, folks, from the top, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson coming in studio. And we might have him, I don't know, as long as we want. Perhaps the senator will join us. We'll get updated. Today, President Trump signed Senator Ron Johnson's right to try bill, but we'll have lots of things to talk about.
He'll be as proud as a peacock.
You know he will. Crudy.
He better come bearing beer is all I know,
Well,
Dom.
we'll talk to you about that, Ron.
Usually he does. We'll see. But that's kind of the way this show has evolved over the years. I book Ron Johnson. You book Tammy Baldwin.
Tammy who?
Where's Tammy?
Let's not even go there.
So,
Well, I mean, it's only, end of May? She's been on the show like once this year.
yeah, Ron's been on more than once. So anyway, Senator Johnson joining us tomorrow. And I believe we have some other guests as well, but I don't have the list in front of me. It's going to be a big day tomorrow as well.
They're always big around here. And then Friday, do you remember what Friday is, Dom?
Friday, we head up to Osh, Vegas. Man, this is going to be a good time. I always enjoy our broadcasts at the Dem Party Convention here in Wisconsin, but not at a casino this year.
I know, no casino. No hotel, resort, casino. I was looking forward to the casino part. That's okay. I'm broke this year anyways.
See?
Don't need to be gambling.
Hey, it's only gambling if you lose, Gertie.
Every day with you in this studio. A little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
You know what I don't know?
What don't you know? There's a lot of things you don't know. I don't know if I have that list ready. Do we have enough time?
I don't know if you're loyal or perhaps if you, sir, are a spy.
A spy? Come on, man. I'm not. Who am I spying for? It's an investigation.
No, you're spying. I can see it, the beady little eyes. You're very spy-like. Why would I bring this up?
Why would you call me a spy?
Well, Donald Trump was rallying last night. Where was he at? Tennessee? Going to campaign for some Marsha Blackburn. And anyways, made a few bold statements last night from the lectern, from the stage. Let's just jump into it. You work so hard. We'll use a couple of them, but that's 2-3 tops.
Tops, max.
Anyways, let's jump into it. Fancy Brian, going to need your help here as well. Let's just start with Cut 80 so we stay in sequential order. Cut 80, Donald Trump.
I got $700 billion for our military. And next year, I got $716 billion. And our enemies look at us much differently now.
Everything's all about him. He got. What do you got?
We got as much military spending as the next 21 nations combined.
10 or 11, I think.
I thought we were higher than that now. Let's keep going because that's not even what I wanted to hear Trump talking about. It's more about spies like us. Cut 81.
Is there anybody in this big, beautiful arena right now that's infiltrating our campaign? Would you please raise your hand? That would take courage, huh?
I'm raising my hand.
We both are. We've infiltrated a few Donald Trump rallies, Dom. Hell, we were in the room in the top row profanely, commentating on his acceptance of the nomination, Quicken Loan Arena. And that was long after I saw Jeff Sessions colluding with one of the Sergis at the Winkin' Lizard.
You'd think.
I think I'm like 50-50 on that.
We should call that fine establishment, see if they got any video from back then.
Perhaps that's why he recused. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's keep going. Trump on Russian spies, or perhaps American spies. Can you imagine? Cut 82.
They had people infiltrating our campaign. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Wow. I mean, can you imagine?
It would take a vivid imagination because it's completely fictional.
Come
I
on.
must suspend my belief, Dom. Like a good movie, like Star Wars or something. Just set aside reality, enjoy yourself for a couple hours at a Trump rally. But yeah, you would completely have to suspend your belief that Spygate is anything other than Liegate. And what about Mike from Grafton? Come on, Mike, where are you at? Conservative Mike.
Yeah, any of the conservatives out there. I'd love to hear from some conservatives. 844-967-2789.
Say it
lots
slow.
of time
Say it
for
slow
you.
for the conservatives.
844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY, because it is a political party here. And while we wait for our very fine conservative friends to call in and let us know their thoughts.
Both of them.
Let's hear.
Johnson's coming tomorrow.
Let's hear from some other conservatives, like perhaps, I don't know, Trey Gowdy. Remember that guy? He's a conservative, right?
He's the guy from Harry Potter grown up.
Malfoy?
The blonde guy. The soon-to-be federal prosecutor leaving his job in the Congress. It's always the guys that are retiring that seemingly are the most candid, Dom.
Well, Trey Gowdy was on the Fox News, and here's what he had to say about the FBI and Trump. Let's start out with cut number 10, please, Brian.
It was President Trump himself who said, number one, I didn't collude with Russia, but if anyone connected with my campaign did, I want the FBI to find that out. It looks to me like the FBI was doing what President Trump said, I want you to do. Find it out. He's not the target. So when Schiff and others don't make that clear, they're doing a disservice to our fellow citizens. He's not the target.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a moment. But again, here's a conservative, Trey Gowdy, saying, hey, Trump, he called for this investigation. He wanted the FBI there. He needed the FBI there.
Trump was not sincere. Trump didn't want the scrutiny of his campaign.
You can't look into a man's soul. I mean, hell, you got to believe what he says, right? Let's keep going.
There is no soul. Anyone born on June 14th has no soul.
We're going to skip one here, Fancy Brian. Again, Trey Gowdy on Fox News on the FBI and Trump, cut 12.
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
And nothing to do. Let's do the next one.
It was a very...
That can all change depending on what a witness says.
So it's got nothing to do with Trump.
Unless
it
does.
Change depends on what a witness says.
The more important part is perhaps not the hedging but it's not Trump. He's not the target, clearly, because that's what you would expect a Republican to say. But effectively, what Trey Gowdy was saying is the president's lying. Spygate. There is no Spygate, fellas and ladies on the right. There is no Spygate. This is a manufactured thing from Trump's ass, I would guess.
Pulling it out of his ass. It wasn't just Trey Gowdy, also Shep Smith. Now, this is a tweet. Trump said, what? Mueller's going to meddle in the midterms. So not only is there a spy, but now there's a plan. There's a plan of action for Republican Mueller to meddle in the midterm elections, according to Trump.
I was listening to some righty-whitey radio earlier today. Mueller's no Republican. You know that.
Oh, really?
Or so they claim.
Well,
and of course, all the investigators, they're all big Hillary donors.
microwaves that turn into cameras, etc.
I think perhaps George Soros on the Mueller team.
Before we run out of time, let's get some of the Shep out there. Cut number 14.
President Trump accusing the special counsel and his team of a whole new set of conspiracy theories. Unfounded, not based in fact or reason, with no evidence to support them. The president says, back up. The president says that Robert Mueller and his team are meddling in the midterms. There's nothing to support that claim, and neither the president nor the White House has offered anything to support that claim.
You know, if Donald Trump's home watching Fox, as he often is, I bet he just shepped his pants.
Shep, let's go cut number 15.
The president claims the special counsel investigating Russia election interference and potential collusion with Team Trump will be meddling in our elections. There is nothing to indicate that's true. As for the rest of the tweet, documents show there are people who've registered as Democrats on the special counsel's team, but Robert Mueller is a Republican.
What?
And so is President Trump's Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who appointed Mueller, an appointment many top Republicans praised. And the so-called rigged Russia witch hunt is not a witch hunt. It has resulted in charges against 4 former Trump associates. 3 pleaded guilty to lying to investigators about Russia.
Oh, God. You know, when a conservative, I don't know how conservative Shep is, but he's on
Shep's on the newsy side of the Fox News channel.
He's on Fox News, and
he's the balanced portion of the fair and balanced.
There's all the other listeners are hearing this. I mean, they're pushing back, it seems, perhaps just a little. Let's do the final one, if you would, please. Again, Shep Smith pushing back on Trump and the meddling.
President Trump has also claimed the feds spied on his campaign with an informant. The president calls it Spygate. Fox News can confirm it is not. Fox News knows of no evidence to support the president's claim that lawmakers from both parties say using an informant to investigate suspected ties to Russia is not spying. It's part of the normal investigative process.
Conservatives, hello, that's your channel. These are your people. Trey Gowdy, Shep Smith, I believe even the judge, Andrew Napolitano, weighed in on this a little bit.
Napolitano, effectively with us, says there's no there. Well, there's an underlying lie, a propaganda. It's being hoisted upon us, but even Shep Smith, he's not on board. Napolitano's not on board. Trey Gowdy's not on board. But I did turn on Fox News last night. You know who is all down?
Hannity?
Actually, Laura Ingraham.
Ingram's down?
Yeah, Laura.
She's spy.
The fair part of the balanced and fair part.
Yeah?
Very translucently fair. Albino-like almost, you might say, Dom.
Not a wrinkle to be seen, any of these.
Need some bronzer.
What do you say? Conservatives love to hear it. What do you think? 844-967-2789. You could be our spy.
And Dominic? Did Donald Trump obstruct justice? I think the answer is very clear now. Absolutely! Yes! Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open. 844-967-2789.
If you have an innocent client, act like it.
I didn't recognize you with the clothes on.
Are you suggesting that I'm not who I say I am?
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
You just found her.
Doctor.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor.
And doctor.
We're not doctors.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her. Wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and 6'4" and fall.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Crute on The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming this fine program on the Facebook and YouTube pages. You can hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio and the party line to talk or text 844-967-2789, calling all conservatives.
Dominic, we've got some breaking news. It's going to change the flow of this show. I suspect this is big news. Shirley Abrahamson will not seek another term, setting up a scramble for the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Patrick Marley, Bill Glauber, updated 3 minutes ago. That was during the break. Shirley Abrahamson, the first woman on the Wisconsin Supreme Court and a fixture of it for more than 40 years, won't seek another term next year. Abrahamson, 84, has participated in cases by phone in recent weeks for undisclosed medical reasons. She said in a statement released to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel on Wednesday that she would not leave the court before her term ends next summer. Certainly you don't want to give Scott Walker an appointment. Right. Here's what she said. I intend that my last day in the court will be July 31st of 2019, Abrahamson said in a statement. Until then, and as I have done for my entire judicial career, I will continue to express my point of view. I will do so on the bench, and if principles and values integral to the great state of Wisconsin and its courts continue to be challenged, I will also express my views off the bench if necessary and as appropriate. A New Yorker who's never lost her accent, Abrahamson developed a national reputation as a leader in liberal legal thought. Democratic Governor Patrick Lucey named Abrahamson to the court in 1976 after Chief Justice Horace Wilkie died. One more quote. This one from the former governor, Patrick Lucy. This appointment affords an opportunity for one woman to help right the wrongs that have faced all women over the years. Lucy said when he appointed her, Abrahamson won a full 10-year term on the court in 1979, reelected in 1989, 1999, 2009. In 1996, she became the Chief Justice because she was the most senior member of the court. She held the position until 2015, when it was torn from her by conservatives in Dominic. When voters adopted an amendment to the state constitution to allow the members of the court to pick the Chief Justice, conservatives on the court quickly voted to move Abrahamson out of the job and replace her with Patience Rogensack. Abrahamson sued over the ouster in federal court but lost the case. Abraham's departure from the court will launch a scramble to replace her. Brian Higdorn, a former chief legal counsel to Scotty Wanker, has said he is strongly considering a run, and other conservatives could get into the race. Now, liberal attorneys and judges will weigh whether they want to join the race as well. So the big breaking news, state of Wisconsin, this is big. Shirley Abrahamson leaving the court.
How old does it say? How
84
old
currently. She'd be 94 if she won re-election. Assuming, actuarially speaking, she served her entire full term. Once again, the former chief, the current Supreme Court Justice, Shirley Abrahamson, will not seek re-election, does intend to serve until July 31st of 2019. We are the Devil's Advocates. We intend to serve you in perpetuity each weekday afternoon between 3 and 6 on Resistance Radio. We'll come back a little more Trump bashing, I suspect. 844-967-2789. Light them up, liberals. Who's your best?
There's a lot of, badness.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The jury is still deliberating in the case of the 19-year-old charged with killing Milwaukee building inspector Greg Ziskevich during an attempted carjacking last year. Deshaun Scott is accused of first-degree reckless homicide, attempted armed robbery, and illegal possession of a gun in Ziskevich's death, plus armed robbery as a party to the crime for an earlier carjacking that day, and eluding an officer causing property damage a few hours after the homicide. And the Brewers lost to the Cardinals last night 6-1. Game 3 of that series is today at Miller Park. And outside we have rain likely today and tonight. Lows tonight in the mid-60s, mostly sunny tomorrow. Highs in the upper 80s in Milwaukee, mid-80s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Breaking news out of Wisconsin. Shirley Abrahamson, the former Chief Justice of the state of Wisconsin, not running for re-election, apparently will retire end of July 2019. That has got some people scrambling. I'm already texting out potential candidates. What about our boy Jeff Scott Olson, man?
I mean, I love Jeff, but I mean...
If he cannot get us an interview with Stormy Daniels...
Oh, he tried.
I know he tried, but he did not succeed. So now he owes us one, and I think he'd better run for the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
All right.
He would be an esteemed jurist, and I think we could get him elected, man.
I don't know. I think Jeff likes the lifestyle. He's bouncing around town or the state doing his thing.
Do you think he's got any skeletons in his closet? I surely hope so. He's always had a twinkle in his eye. We got a caller on the phones. You can always be like Steve from Milwaukee and join us at 844-967-2789. Steve, you're first today. Welcome to the show. Your thoughts.
Hey, Dom and Cruz. Nice to speak with you. And I'm a conservative from Milwaukee that likes to listen to you guys and learn a little bit more about you. And I happen to be a Trump supporter. I happen to be a conservative Christian. And I happen to wish that everybody could stop pointing fingers and work towards a single goal a little better and more effectively.
Steve, what would be the singular goal you would point us towards, sir?
I guess it would be the lack of violence that we feel towards one another when a conservative meets a liberal and they feel that the divide is so deep that they can't agree on anything to move forward.
We've never felt that way, Steve. Dom was a lot more righty when he started. I pulled him to the left, but we've always booked guys like Ron Johnson. Dom's got him coming in studio here tomorrow. We've always found a reason to have the discourse, even if, ideologically, I very much disagree with the way Ron Johnson governs. But he's always been a very cordial guy. He's always been a friend of the show. I'll put it to you that way, Steve. We've got no qualms talking with Republicans. We're more down for good governance. And I think right now, and my fear for you, sir, is the current president is not leading us with good governance. And I would question, Steve, how do you not see that especially this current circumstance we're describing, this Spygate, this Spygate is a manufacturer of Trump's imagination. When Trey Gowdy, Judge Napolitano, and Shep Smith all say, no, they're there, who am I to believe?
Well, I believe that, just to back up a little bit, I've always found that the liberals are a lot more demonstrative and verbal when they want to champion their cause. For instance, with Scott Walker, when the re-election was happening, and he implemented Act 10, there were teachers in front of his house blocking his driveway and doing things on the lawn that ought to be done. And there were people making fun of his family and bringing in family into politics. And so I consider, from what I've seen in my political observation of being a conservative and looking at the liberals, that I see the liberals as a more violent bunch, quite frankly, where if you don't agree, they are going to shake you up. And when you win an election, they're not going to go away. They're going to let you know that you won. I hate you. I can't wait till you're out. So Trump, in my opinion, has the ability to treat Democrats like the Democrats have treated the conservatives.
Steve, let me, if I can jump in here. I don't know if that's necessarily the case across the board. I don't know that Tommy Thompson was treated with such vitriol that perhaps Scott Walker is, and I don't know that George W. Bush or some of the conservatives are treated like Trump is being treated at this point. Don't you think that some of that has to do with the person and not the party?
And the choice of dividing and conquering, sir. When you feel like you are in the minority and the guy feels like he's conquered you and he governs to the 50+1, well, some of us resent that. I'm not saying I've ever been violent. I don't recall ever being politically violent. Don't ask Tony Evers, but setting that aside, sir, he's the one that always raised Matt and Alex as the campaign props. I have certainly referenced both his children and his wife, mostly because he does.
And they are in politics.
And when they, are part of the campaign and they send me solicitation emails, and all three members of the family, not named Scott K. Walker, do so, well, they've made themselves fair games of sort. Now, I'm not out here to insult anyone's family, but I would say Scott Walker went after teachers. And you may not perceive that was the net result or the desire or the motivation of Act 10, but effectively it was to cripple the teachers' unions. It was, he's still to this day using the vocabulary of the big government union bosses. Well, those poor teachers, I love my kids as teachers. They're not villains. They were people just doing their jobs. He's the one that put the animus in the politics, to my opinion, sir, when he divided and conquered, and it started with the public sector unions, and it ended with right to work, and hell, he's still doing it to this day, sir.
Well, that's entirely correct, but to understand from my perspective of being a person that has been non-governmental and never a teacher and always lusted after the benefits that both of those organizations had when I had to pay a different scale, even though my wage might be competitive, the benefits was a huge discrepancy for the public sector over the private sector, and
Steve,
so I don't see that as a negative. You and I would differ on that. That's all I can say.
Well, Steve, I'm not a union guy either. I support the unions. I think people should have the right to collectively bargain. I think there's a lot of working stiffs that need the power of the union. But let me ask you, sir, as a small business owner, as a guy who's had a little bit of success, I'm not saying I'm getting rich in the radio business, but I've had success in business. Do you resent my success? Is there any resentment at all? Do you resent the success of Donald Trump?
No, not at all. I do not. For people that have worked, people that have been given something, that have made something of it, people that are lousy, that don't do good with what they're given, it's their lot in life that they're at now, and they're responsible to be they're judged on the human beings that they're being at the time.
But I guess here's my point, Steve. I don't resent my neighbor if he's a working stiff and he got better health insurance because he chose the teaching field and because collectively they've negotiated a better deal, because ultimately part of the reason why the average working stiff's got a weekend off and maybe health insurance and some protections is not because he was in the union, but because some other people fought for unionization. Because once upon a time, when it was the factory owners against the rest of us didn't do so well in contract negotiations. It wasn't until the workers came together. But I don't know why I've got to resent Dominic for his good hair, or Fancy Brian because he could crush me like a bug, or anybody else, or why should I envy or resent the next guy if he got something a little bit better? If he and I are both essentially cut from the same cloth, we're out here trying to earn a living and take care of our families.
Well,
that doesn't make us the bad guys. It's the top 1% that's sticking it to us, Steve. It's not your neighbor.
It doesn't make you a bad guy at all, but I do not resent you. I do not resent teachers. I do not resent public workers. I pay for teachers. I pay for public workers. They don't pay for me. So
well,
when it comes
they've educated our kids, and they paid their own taxes, sir.
I'm paying them for a service, and so because we are their employer, we can decide if maybe the scales have tipped too far in one direction.
Well, am I not paying Donald Trump's salary in some way, shape, or form with my taxes,
Hey, Steve?
Steve?
One more question for you. And I certainly appreciate you listening and calling in, man. I really do. But I want to get back to the Spygate thing. And you hear Trump in this rally in Tennessee yesterday, again, pushing this narrative. And, we've all been saying this is BS, and now Trey Gowdy was actually in the room, saw the evidence. He's come out and said nope. Same with Shep Smith and same with Napolitano, that this is not what Trump is presenting it to be. But he's still getting the cheers at the rallies. Steve, as a conservative here in Milwaukee, do you believe Trump when he says these things about specifically Spygate?
Specifically Spygate?
Yes.
I believe there was somebody put into his campaign that gave reports. Do you agree with that?
I'm not at all clear that someone can be put in your campaign. I mean, maybe a low-level staffer, but you can't put someone in my radio station. I might hire an intern, but the intern's not getting the insights into my financials or something. When you talk about hiring at the highest levels, doesn't the boss have some say? How does Barack Obama or, through magic, Hillary Clinton or whoever, this supposed originator of the spy, where does that person stick that person into Trump's organization without Trump hiring the person?
Well, that's an excellent question, and it looks like there's a road that's being followed that's going to either prove that there wasn't and that it's ridiculous, or that there was something that may be not identified in the exact way yet because it's not allowed to be shared.
Steve, if this shows that Donald Trump has been ridiculous in this issue, will you still listen to us and love us, sir?
I will still listen to you. I appreciate you guys, and I'll go because you're much smarter than me, and thank you for letting me talk to you.
Hey, Steve, appreciate you listening, man. We, like all sorts of deplorables. 844-967-2789.
Yeah, we got some time on this. Let's keep going. Annie from Watertown, you are next. Thanks for calling. What do you think?
I think my head's going to explode. I think Steve is typical of what has happened here in Wisconsin, where people have just been totally snowed over. That's why Wisconsin, Scott Walker, are such a good model for the rest of the country. Trump is sure taking lessons from him because it's sure worked. There's a loony left and a loony right, You barely hear from the regular left, much less the loony left, whereas the loony right is running the country. And quite a bit of other things, the crazy, deplorable, lunatic fringe of the white fundamentalist Christians are advising the president on the policy of the Mideast. On and on, But what he says he doesn't resent, but he pays them. I mean, it's like authoritarianism right down where I've got to be above somebody. Otherwise, I'm just another minority. Or I don't know. It's really sad. That guy just I don't know. I just
But
don't know where
Annie,
to go
don't
with
feel
all of it.
sad for Steve, and understand. Not, I tease him. I called him a deplorable before you brought up the word. But I would point out there were a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump because they just saw government politics. It's so broken. They just thought, man, we're really going to break it. This guy's really going to break it. And in some way, shape, or form, he has absolutely broken governance, history, precedent. It's all out the window now, right? Well, the question is, does Steve stop, put his head in the sand and say, well, we got it broken. Now I'm going to pretend like it, all the bad stuff never happened. Or it seems to me like Steve's informing himself, at least he's listening to other opinions, and he, it's give and take. He talks, he listens, he talks, he listens. As I said, my little buddy Dominic voted for Scott Walker once upon a time. Now, he can certainly justify his twisted logic, but I will tell you, Annie, over the course of time and the conversations and the knowledge that we've learned and hope to impart upon our audience, well, Dominic would never vote for Scott Walker again.
No.
But first he had to become informed. And Steve, by listening to this show...
And arrested.
I mean, by the time it's all said and done, Steve's going to be voting for Bernie Sanders.
I would not hold your breath on that. One of the things that both sides do it, he said some pretty nasty, far-off stuff. Now, this politics of resentment, the nastiness, this all started really head-on with 94 with Newt Gingrich stuff. But they are this way. They're nasty. And now we got Scott Walker saying, oh, the liberals are so angry. You know what? Finally, I think, I can call me a liberal, but I have been, I guess, maybe pushed to be angry. And maybe the young kids see that that's the only way to be. But that's not the way it was. And the Republicans started this, and they have got it down to a fine art. And now they say, oh, it's both sides. And they did say both sides. Now they say the Democrats are nasty.
Yeah, it's just us violent liberals that always want to end those wars, Annie. I'm already against the next war as a damn violent liberal progressive.
Hey, thanks for the call, Annie. And I think, Crudy, you put it best. Governor Walker came in with a divide and conquer agenda. That is not, as Steve wanted, everyone getting together and focusing on one thing, civil discourse and good governance and hearing other people's opinions and hammering out a midpoint to govern. That is not at all how Governor Walker did it. He came in to divide and conquer, 50% plus one. He had the backing of the super rich and the Koch brothers and the very wealthy. And while, this is really the issue, and I think you touched on this when we were talking with Steve, is while we're down here battling this thing out and having these conversations, those super rich, well, they're just cashing checks. It's not about, who's more liberal, who's more conservative. It's about who's getting through the day. We got 43% of the people in this country can't afford basic subsistence, a cell phone and rent and food for their family. There are big problems that the wage gap is growing in this country. And that's not because Steve and I don't agree on Act 10 or legalized weed. That's because guys like Scott Walker are cashing the checks from the multi-billionaires and doing divide and conquer. So we sit down here and fight each other. And while we're doing that, we got no time to look up and see what the hell's really happening.
That's why you got to listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day. Nothing but the truth heard right here. 844-967-2789. Your truth can be next on the phones.
Guess what? Who are the suckers?
They can go suck lemons.
Tune in to the Devil's Advocates this Friday, June 1st, for the official kickoff of the election season. Special expanded coverage from the Democratic Party Convention live from Oshkosh. Dom and Crew are Radio Row, and we have all the best friends. Commentary until 6, all the gubernatorial candidate and congressional Dem speeches as Resistance Radio brings you exclusive coverage until dark. That's this Friday, 3 to 8:30, an exclusive production of the Devil's Advocates and Resistance Radio, 1510 a.m., 1580 a.m., and streaming live at newstalk1510am.com.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food. We're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's 3 big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on it anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
We got Mark Pocan, live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. And so, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, 844-967-2789. If you want to jump in the conversation, you could be like Philip from Waukesha. Hey, Philip, welcome. What do you got for us today? Hello, Philip. Phil, you changed, man. Phil going once. Phil going twice. Call us back. Lonnie from Albuquerque, you're up. Thanks for calling. What do you got?
Hey, Lonnie.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good, sir.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was just listening to what the gentleman, the Republican was saying. I've been talking to a lot of people around here that are Republicans, and you know what? Or that voted for Donald Trump, and I can't agree with everybody saying that everybody's racist, because the people that I've met, they voted for him because they thought that their life would get better. Yeah. The poor farmers over there and Midwest, they thought that he was going to do things, and he just lied to them like he lied to everybody else. That's all. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel bad for it, but for anyone to think that he's a billionaire, I'm from Missouri. You got to show me that.
Well, Lonnie, how about...
I'm a billionaire too, but,
Depends on your mood on the day. Lonnie, Western
Exactly.
Wisconsin, rural Wisconsin, were some of the counties in the nation, like 32 of the counties, that went for Barack Obama twice and then flip for Donald Trump. Like 10% of those counties are right here in the state of Wisconsin. Lonnie, is it possible people voted very hopefully and changefully for Barack Obama, but the obstructionism, the original obstructionism of Paul Ryan and his ilk kept Obama from really accomplishing what he was hoping to accomplish? And then you throw in some racism, and all of a sudden you got a toxic mix that brought Donald Trump, ascended him to the presidency. And the Russians might have helped.
But you got to remember, too, Hillary never got off her lazy ass and did anything either, to be honest with you. I mean, she didn't get up there like Barack and everybody else, hitting these little bitty counties. She sat up there, like they were saying. She sat up there bringing in Jay-Z, doing all this other stuff, hobnobbing. She didn't even come here to New Mexico. She's going to send Phil to New Mexico, but she was too busy to campaign. So for the Democrats, I mean, it was their fault that she didn't get off her lazy ass and do anything. But we still had a choice of two lesser evils.
Well, I'd hate to say that, but come back with us, Devil's Advocates. Hour 2 is next, 844-967-2789.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Saturday, June 2nd from 12 to 4 p.m. Join Earl Ingram, Rep. Joe Casas-Amaripa, and Resistance Radio from the Valley Victory Broad Fry, the Democratic Convention's postgame party from the Midnight Club in Oshkosh. Union sponsors include Northeast Wisconsin Building and Construction Trades, Fox Valley Area Labor Council Painters Local Council 7, Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 400, introducing 80-plus Wisconsin Democratic legislative candidates. Tune in Resistance Radio Saturday for the political event of the year. Join the party and get a brat for the road.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
June or July, Shattered Hearts. I'm Michael Toscano.
We are preparing and expect that to take place on June 12th.
Press Secretary Sarah Sanders expressing White House optimism about the on and off summit between President Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un.
And if it's not, then we'll be ready if it takes place on July 12th.
One of UN's top officials has arrived in New York for talks tonight and tomorrow with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to iron out issues related to a meeting. A White House bill signing ceremony.
We are finally giving these wonderful Americans the right to try. So important.
President Trump signing the bipartisan right to try bill into law. It allows extremely ill people access to drugs and treatments before they receive full approval from the Food and Drug Administration. Also today, new guidelines from the American Cancer Society about colon and rectal cancer screening, now recommended to start at age 45 instead of 50. The reason? Increasing cases of the diseases reported in younger people. Correspondent Elizabeth Cohen tells us the screenings are making a big difference.
When you
look at people over the age of 50, so the group that has been screened, their colon cancer rates have gone down by about a third over the past couple of decades. That's a huge decrease.
Saying our hearts are shattered, Dixon County, Tennessee Sheriff Jeff Bledsoe mourns the shooting death of an unidentified deputy killed this morning answering a call about a suspicious car.
People question us sometimes and why we're so on edge and why there's more than one deputy or why there's multiple cars. This is the prime example of why we have to take care of each other and take care of our citizens.
The Tennessee Highway Patrol helping in the hunt for suspect Stephen Joshua Wiggins, said to be armed and dangerous. Stocks closed solidly higher on Wall Street, led by gains in banks, technology, and energy. The Dow ended with a 307-point gain, the S&P adding 34 points, the Nasdaq up a fraction under 66 points. I'm Michael Toscano.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
In what seems like a good indicator for the economy, the Federal Reserve says it's detected an upswing in manufacturing activity in many parts of the country.
The Fed's latest survey of business conditions tracked an acceleration in manufacturing in late April and early May, even as some businesses were expressing concern about rising trade tensions and the uncertainty from the tariff debate. The Fed survey describes the economy as expanding at a moderate pace, with more than half of the central bank's 12 regions reporting a pickup in industrial activity and a third describing manufacturing conditions as strong. Jan Johnson, Washington.
Mortgage interest rates are down, but so are mortgage applications, perhaps because there are relatively few affordable houses left for sale. The Mortgage Bankers Association reports overall applications fell 2.9% last week, the sixth straight week of declines. The national average interest rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage down to 4.84%. I'm Michael Toscano.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in the former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee Public School Board passed next year's budget last night. The proposed budget restores $11.6 million to classrooms, but cuts more than 30 full-time positions at the central office. The vote was unanimous, and the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association is in support of the proposed budget. And the jury is still deliberating in the case of the 19-year-old charged with killing Milwaukee building inspector Greg Ziskevich during an attempted carjacking last year. Deshaun Scott is accused of first-degree reckless homicide, attempted armed robbery, and illegal possession of a gun in Ziskevich's death, plus armed robbery as a party to the crime for an earlier carjacking that day, and eluding an officer causing property damage a few hours after the homicide. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Very big breaking news in the state of Wisconsin. Shirley Abrahamson will not seek re-election to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. She is the liberal lioness on that court, Tom, and I think there are probably some legal eagle scrambling right now. Justice, well, it will never be apparently Justice Jeff Scott Olson, though.
Yeah, he said he's not going to go.
Come on, man. You owe us, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff.
No Stormy and no run for Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice. If he hadn't won a couple lawsuits for us, he might not even be our friend anymore.
We love JSO.
We got one caller. We don't want to leave him behind. It's Philip from Waukesha. He's back. Philip, what do you got for us?
Hi, guys. Good talking to you. Hey, just want to talk a little bit about history. You know, we keep, have people calling in, Republicans, and their ideas about Trump and everything. And what you have here with Trump is a perfect storm. And I'm guessing that this is the first time, I don't know if it's ever or a long time, the Republicans have controlled all three branches and plus the Supreme Court. But if you go back to the 20s, you have Harding and you have Hoover. What did they do? They cut taxes, deregulated the financial industry, took care of the rich people. We had the Great Depression. Roosevelt came in and basically saved the country from the Republicans. And then you had Eisenhower, who was okay. He wasn't too bad. Talked about the military-industrial complex. And then you have Nixon, you have Reagan, you have Bush. Everything that's happening now has happened before. Cut taxes, take care of the rich people, screw the workers. When Reagan was president, people had a livable wage. What did he do? He cut the taxes from 75% to 24%. Wages went down. I mean, people are making 30 to 50% less than we did before Reagan took over. And this is all a process. This is what Republicans do. They are the party of the wealthy and the corporations, and they screw the rest of us. The problem is that they have all the money, and they brainwash all these evangelical Christians and all the Trump supporters into thinking that they're helping them when they're screwing them every single day. I mean, remember when back in the 70s when auto workers were the highest paid workers in the country? They made, with their benefits and everything, $40-50 an hour. Now in the South, they're making minimum wage. They're making $10 an hour. And they're making it look like, the corporation saying, well, hey, you're lucky you have a job. And these people accept this. And everything that's going on right now, this is what Republicans do. People make less money. And, they got the evangelicals got their man in, and they told them what they want to do. And we'll let you do anything you want. You can fornicate, you can lie, you can cheat, you can collude, but we're going to support you as long as you take care of us, the things that we want to do. And it all boils down to that. The only thing we can do is to get these bums out of office because they have all the money. And we've got to get it back to how it used to be, where these corporations pay their fair share. And, and we've got to stop this because, I mean, every single thing, it just kills me. Not you guys. I'm not talking about you guys, but the mainstream media, every time Trump says something, They should blow everything up. The guy lies every time he opens up his mouth, and they've got to stop taking this guy seriously. He is a buffoon, but the thing is he's the Republican buffoon, and they're going to do everything they can to protect this guy, and it's up to the Democrats and independents and people who can think to get these guys out of office.
Philip, let me throw a couple of thoughts back at you. First and foremost, I bet if you asked a Republican, they would think we're the ones that don't know how to think, right? Everybody thinks the other guy doesn't have the same modicum of intelligence that we might have. Well, Republicans are, be it the evangelicals or the Koch brothers, they're getting exactly what they wanted from this guy. They're getting a Supreme Court justice. They're getting a lot of other judges impaneled for life on the courts, the federal courts. They're getting tax cuts for the wealthiest, and they're getting plenty of religion, at least if your preferred religion is Christian or even Judeo-Christian. They're basically playing favorites with religion, and they're rolling out anti-gay, anti-transgender policies, and they're rolling out anti-abortion policies. So for some, he's checking all the boxes. These are lists of accomplishments. What we don't understand is why you would want to accomplish these things, because if you are a Christian, it's about the meekest. It's not about the richest. But, there are some, the Joel Osteens of the world, that believe, if God blessed you, it must be because you're the greatest. You're the super coolest. God loves you best. That's why you're rich. I mean, hell, we got some evangelical preacher asking right now for $54 million from the Sheep Bowl because, what would Jesus ride on? Not a mule. He'd be riding on a slick new jet. He'd be a hopper.
The fourth or fifth new jet.
You hit everything on the head. I mean, everything you said is true, and this is, like I said, it's the perfect storm. They've got the buffoon in there. That's just what they've been waiting for since Barry Goldwater was defeated. They started this. This was their plan since he lost. They've been building this with their think tanks, their strategies, their cheating, their voter suppression.
Hey, don't forget right-wing talk radio.
Oh, and you got it, talk radio, the media. They own 98% of the media, except for the independent broadcasters. Thank God for you guys. And it's a mountain that we have to climb over to get to the other side to stop these people, because they're just not nice people. And like you said, it's a party, it's a religion of hypocrisy. Everything that they talk about, and I've been saying this I'm 64 years old, and I've been saying this since I was 10 years old. These people are con artists. They use religion to get what they want by lying and cheating, and they take Jesus as their savior, and they do everything against what he stands for or what he would have done. And like I said, but it's okay. They've got their talking points. They got their anti-abortion, they got anti-gun law, and they've got they've got the capital of Israel moved to Jerusalem. That's part of the plan, so they can so Jesus can come down and save all of them.
The rapture's coming any day now, Philip. They're betting on it.
End times. Thanks for the call, Philip. Really do appreciate it. And you're not going to convince the billionaires or the super rich, but you don't need to. We need to convince those that do not participate, those that don't think that they have any say in our representative republic and getting out and voting, getting involved. We just gotta. It's real simple. There's not enough money in the world can buy everybody, but we, as a republic, can go out and change it just by simply voting them out of office.
Historically speaking, though, people have not seen a change they can believe in. That's been the problem. Doesn't matter which side, red or blue, you vote for, life doesn't change much. The rich get richer, the poor have babies. That's the way it's always been, at least since we started seeing the diversion of the the resources of our nation to the very richest. So the rich get richer, and the rest of us are working stiffs, and we find these different divisive wedge issues, and we fight amongst ourselves.
And we beat each other over the head with them.
And the rich get richer.
Right.
And the rest of us get poorer, or we work harder for the same pay. And by the time you factor in inflation and the rising cost of gasoline, well, you're lucky if you can pay the bills at the end of the month.
And don't forget the crappy roads.
And the rich get richer the whole time. I think we missed the point. Conservatives, I'm not your enemy. I'm not the rich guy.
But here,
I'm not keeping you down. I'm not, if a damn teacher down the road gets their health insurance paid for, good. Appreciate the fact one of your neighbors maybe got a break in life and you didn't catch one yet.
Universal health care, Medicare for all. Wouldn't that solve that particular grievance that they
let them
have?
all buy in?
Yes.
Let the people buy health insurance, a government option, a single payer option. That's not socialism. You buy it, or it's subsidized. But, then the rich couldn't get richer, Dom, because they might have to pay a little extra, like $21,000 to actually provide health insurance to the working stiffs, the poor. And when you talk about this full employment economy that we're living in currently, I don't mean to interrupt snack time. Let's take a break. This full employment economy, well, if you push people off the social safety net, you put enough job requirements, enough hurdles between here and realization, you take enough away from them, make the SNAP program less appealing. Damn welfare queens always wanting their lobsters, driving their Cadillacs to the market, right? Well, first it was Reagan, and then it was Scott Walker, and Donald Trump's using the same divide and conquer tactics. But Donald Trump should make it transparent for all of us. It's the rich. It's him and his administration, his cronies. They're in it to get us, the ants, the little worker bees.
But we have the power in the numbers and in how this republic works. We have the power. That's what people don't understand. That's what people need to understand. They can't buy their way into everything. We can change it in one election cycle.
Well, guess what? It got very painful to be complacent and let guys like Donald Trump govern. Get off your dead asses and vote. And most importantly, come back with us. More Devil's Advocates on the other side. You can always throw your opinions out here. They're welcomed. 844-967-2789.
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people.
And I love all people, rich or poor. But in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense?
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exodus.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, and in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Five9, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy five9s.com.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. We also stream this fine program on the Facebook and YouTube pages. You can hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the party line to talk or text 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I feel like channeling Bernie Sanders. The top 1% of the top 1%. It's the income disparity. That is the greatest issue in our nation. And of course, campaign finance laws are set up to maintain the income disparity because the rich, well, they can buy themselves some politicians, and the working stiffs, we don't have that same
And here in Wisconsin, it's even worse than the rest of the country.
Wild
It is. There's nothing like the campaign finance laws in the state of Wisconsin anywhere else in this country. Yeah,
uniquely corrupt. Scott Walker, you're welcome. Harley-Davidson workers say plant closure after tax cuts is like a bad dream. I think this story helps make our point, Dom. Candy Woodall, this one published originally at the Journal Sentinel, I believe. Harley-Davidson workers across the USA are reeling from the planned closure of the motorcycle maker's Kansas City plant, even as the firm is expected to reap huge financial benefits from the federal corporate tax cut. The Milwaukee-based motorcycle manufacturer benefited from the tax cuts enacted January 1, then announced cuts of 350 jobs across the company in late January. On February 5th, it approved a half-cent dividend increase and a buyback of up to 15 million shares. So they're canning jobs, and they're increasing the dividends for the shareholders, and they're buying back stocks, which in essence is an effort to increase the value of their stock. Harley's U.S. sales have been sinking in recent years as boomers decide they're becoming too old to continue riding, and fewer younger people step up to take their place, maybe because they don't have sufficient discretionary income to buy a Harley. As a result, Harley said it was forced to cut excess factory capacity. That means human beings, Dom. Unfortunately, there's nothing that could have been done to address the pressures of excess capacity we have in the U.S. market, Harley said in a statement. The company maintains that the dividend increase in the stock buybacks are unrelated to the tax savings.
Yeah.
Workers say they are dismayed. We did everything Harley-Davidson asked us to do, welder Tim Primo, I don't know how to say that word, I'm sorry, Tim, said in an NBC News interview that aired last week. To have it all blow up in your face is kind of disappointing. When Harley-Davidson announced in January that it would slash 800 jobs upon closing the Kansas City plant by fall of 2019, Primo said that he and other workers were in a state of shock and awe. It was like I was in a bad dream, just stuck in it, Primo told the network. In May of 2017, Harley-Davidson had announced it was adding 118 workers at its Kansas City plant to consolidate Softail cruiser motorcycles and laying off the same number of workers at a Spriggetsbury Township facility near York, Pennsylvania. Now with the Kansas City closure, 450 full-time casual and tractor positions will be added in Pennsylvania, yielding a loss of 350 jobs overall. Days after it announced the plant closure, the company announced that the dividend increase would reward shareholders almost $1 million, Tom. But here's the real kicker. The stock buyback plan, which has the effect of boosting share price, was another expense of $700 million. And that also benefits shareholders.
I'm going to jump in here, Crudy. When Harley-Davidson received news of the tax cut in September, House Speaker Paul Ryan said the reform meant companies like Harley would be able to keep jobs in America. In January, a CNBC survey of the 100 largest companies by market capitalization determined that's not happening, and only 10 of those companies said they plan to use the tax savings to boost worker pay. Harley, part of the S&P 500, is not in the S&P 100.
Now, they're offshoring these jobs, right? They're putting them in a foreign plant.
That's got nothing to do with it, though. Excess capacity here is going to build them over there. But isn't that what corporations are supposed to do? They're there to serve the stockholders, not the greater community.
And politicians, they're there to serve the rich. Come back with us. Two poor guys doing radio, 844-967-2789.
And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes his speech, but he's always riding like he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy.
The irony is a little rich here these days.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The bridge is out, and there are scat holes everywhere. Come on. What's wrong with you? Listen to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Tom, I didn't know you had all the Badger roots. I got a little hashtag. I'd like to try it out on you. DNC MKE 2020, sir. What do you think? Milwaukee for the DNC, Tom.
They are one of the cities that has expressed interest. Obviously, the new arena is going to be open and running by them. and I'm sure they will put forth a very, very credible package.
Well, Tom, it's nice that the stadium will be opening up, but also last year on the east side of Milwaukee, the Devil's Advocates and WRRD opened their stations on Brady Street.
Bring it home, Tom.
Wow. Amen. Well, I stayed up all night the night before my wedding, so I went out to a lot of watering holes not too far from there.
You're supposed to skip a night between the bachelor party and the wedding, sir.
I didn't get the memo. I wish we had done this interview 30 years ago.
Making radio great again.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman, Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate. And they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A report from the Journal Sentinel says the Milwaukee police reports of the Sterling Brown arrest do not match what the body camera videos show. The police reports say the Milwaukee Bucks rookie was aggressive before they tased him. On the body camera video, however, Brown shows little, if any, resistance before being tased. And you can join Resistance Radio's Earl Ingram for an important storytelling event on race relations this evening as part of the 50-Year Ache series. The event will take place at Anodyne Cafe, 224 West Bruce Street in Milwaukee from 6:30 to 8:30 this evening. Seating is limited. If you would like to reserve a seat, go to jsonline.com/50-year-event. That's 50-year event. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. Radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We were just going to encourage you. Go see our pal Earl Ingram Jr. right here from Resistance Radio, the voice of the voiceless. He'll be doing that big Milwaukee Journal Sentinel event. Once again, Anodyne Cafe, 224 West Bruce Street in Milwaukee. That starts about a half an hour after we go off the air. 6:30 p.m., runs till 8:30 p.m., featuring Earl Ingram Jr. and many fine other guests. And Dom, we always try to feature our audience on this big program. We've got a few callers holding. The phone number here, 844-967-2789. Let's get back to the phones. Who's up?
Mark, you are up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you think?
I think a lot of stuff. I've scared our pal Mike. He's deleting his posts now because his girlfriend is mad at him for spending too much time on
our favorite troll, here. Mike?
Yeah, I guess so. That so I post something, responding to him, and I go, well, what happened? Because you have to take it in context, I guess. But it's just a whole another world with that Ukrainian reporter that they faked. The security services faked his death so they could try to uncover the plot against him. And
Mark, that's a fascinating story. Have you, sir, ever considered faking your own death?
Not recently.
I consider it almost every day.
Well, but you don't have Vladimir Putin with your name. Your name isn't on Vladimir Putin's hit list, though. So
are you sure? Him and Trump are pretty big buddies, and we haven't exactly been.
Not yet at any rate.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm on. If I'm not on Trump or Putin's list, I guarantee I'm on Scott Walker's list.
Well, I don't think it's that list you're on. You might be on the other list that. But it's Shirley Abrahamson dropping out. Maybe it's a good thing that she's letting us know now, so we can rouse up a good candidate to fill her very large shoes. But the other story, I guess, and you guys are probably aware of it, the 1,500 children that ICE has managed to lose. Apparently, ICE now is really good at shredding their paperwork. For their activities.
Here's the problem. As much as I pushed back on this Spygate, Liegate of Donald Trump's creation, I would say the New York Times article about these 1,500 supposedly missing kids, there is a story to be told about the fact that we have this no-tolerance policy and that we are separating children from their families. But these 1,500 missing kids, Mark, that is, I don't want to say a non-story, but that is not the story it's being made out to be on social mediums and by many of my lefty friends. I read a version of it at CNN, and I don't think it's that big a deal, not that aspect.
Well, this yanking the kids away from their parents, I mean, it feeds into it, because I think the reason we know they're yanking the kids away from their parents is it's linked into this other story. Now, I don't know the veracity of the other story, if there's completely lost these kids, but yanking these, some of these are just little babies, and they're yanking them away from their parents, and it's just cruel and vindictive. I mean, that's the kind of thing that the slave owners used to do down south back prior to the Civil War.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I mean,
and Mark, that's a real story, and it's being perpetrated by Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions and our Department of Justice and our ICE agents. But the whole we've lost 1,500 kids is not the real story, and is not where we should put our concentration, because, quite frankly, we shouldn't get pulled down the rabbit hole by these stories that really, they sound really bad, but then you dig in and you realize, well, there's not 1,500 kids lost. There's a much bigger issue on the border, and that is true, Mark. There are literally children being torn away from their parents on the border. That part's true. They just haven't lost the kids yet, to the best of my knowledge.
All right, but hey, Mark, I want to pull you back here to the topics that we were specifically on, talking about this wealth disparity, talking about Republicans and Dems and all of us little people down here bickering over the minutia, while the rich and the super rich are just sitting there cashing checks and making sure that their families are set for generations, and we're struggling to get through. And then we talked about specifically Harley Davidson, and we got a lot. There was a Vox article last week, and then Journal Sentinel picked up through the USA Today network, and we got a lot of traffic on this. And this is, of course, this is our hometown, man. I love Harley Davidson. But here's my thing. Just as the CNBC survey, 10% of the top 100 companies in the S&P, only 10% were going to use the tax savings to give to their employees as a raise. Now, here's my position on that. Corporations do not exist to benefit the employees. Corporations do not exist to benefit greater society or to, give tax dollars to the government. Corporations exist for the benefit and profit of the shareholders, and that's how it's created, and that in and of itself I don't find as a bad thing. What I think is really misleading is when you do these tax cuts and you say this is going to help the middle class, when you know the intrinsic reason for being of these entities is to pay their shareholders.
There was a great deal of distrust, from what I understand, a great deal of trust of corporations back at the time of the founding, and up until, I think, the late 19th century. I mean, corporations had a very limited life. And I don't know if we can go back to something like that, but these corporations exist simply to make money. Their bottom line is to make money. It's not to provide any societal good. It is to make money.
Yes.
And they have us fighting, like you said, we're fighting over the crumbs, and the real nutritious stuff is staying right there at the top. And we have to figure that out. I mean, you're spot on there. That's saying we're fighting over the crumbs. And I guess we just have to wake people up. And I think Harley Davidson closing in Kansas is going to wake people up. They are going to be seriously torqued, because I think a lot of them probably voted for Donald Trump. And other people. I mean, it's happening all over, and these people are going to say, Well, are they going to be voting for the guys that just did it to them?
Appreciate the call, Mark. You can be like Mark, 844-967-2789. I have a point to make, but I'm going to hold it because I'd like to get Pete's opinion in this segment. Pete, you're next. Welcome to the show. What do you think?
Am I on?
You are, Pete.
Okay. The example you gave is a perfect example of why trickle down doesn't work. They take the money themselves to further the goals of the corporation, and they screw the workers, and so the workers need to stand up for themselves. If anybody who works for a living and turns around and votes for jokers like Trump and these other jokers who are Republicans, they need to have their head examined.
Well, Pete, but let me just say this in some defense of those who did. I mean, think of the things that Donald Trump said on the campaign trail. You're going to keep the jobs in Cary. We're going to keep these jobs here. We're bringing these companies back to America.
Tear up NAFTA.
We're going to do all these things. And hell, I remember him saying insurance for everybody. I mean, some of the things that he said on the trail, obviously, he was never going to do. But if you went to a rally, if you heard some of those things, hell, maybe he will. Maybe he can do it. Now, we know that that's not going to happen. And perhaps it's just the Republican, the R behind his name, because that's how they roll. They make sure the corporations, and the corporations are generally owned, the shareholders are usually the very rich. Now, there's some, pooled money. There's some individual stockholders. A lot of people have mutual funds and whatnot. But generally speaking, these are the very rich that have most of the control of these corporations. And their policies are to make sure that they get as much money as possible.
Right, and the workers get the shaft, but the problem is you've got to follow the bouncing ball. That's what the guy says when he's running. But when he actually gets in office, Republicans rarely, if ever, and I'd like to know one example of when they've brought jobs back or when they've been for union jobs or for good-paying jobs. I haven't seen it. You'd have to tell me what it is.
You mean to tell me the $4.5 billion we're going to stick in Foxconn's not going to pay well? At least for Scott Walker and campaign contributions.
Yeah, you got it. $9 an hour or something, and then half the jobs are probably going to be robots. I hope those robots can buy a lot of things so we can have something in the economy.
Right.
Appreciate the call, Pete. 844-967-2789. Last I heard, Speaker Voss, and this was before Foxconn rolled out, was publicly acknowledging the well-paying jobs were $15 an hour. And we have heard rumor that the assembly jobs are under $10 an hour, at least as they publish currently on the Foxconn website. Old industries, big-ass corporations, you're absolutely right. And I would draw a small distinction. I've heard you and a few of the callers talk about corporations. Corporations are just entities created from whole cloth. Whether or not they become publicly traded corporations, where it does become their responsibility to, increase share price. That is the only bottom line that matters, share price. Small corporations
dividends
usually,
too. I mean, there's combinations, but go ahead, make your point.
But the point is we are a corporation. This little entity, WRD, New WRD LLC, New WTTN LLC. These are corporations, but I can tell you there are no dividends to pay. Right. And quite frankly, decisions made by small family-owned companies like this one, these decisions follow my moral values.
Right.
I'm making decisions predicated on not just what's in the best bottom line interest of Crudy, and don't tell my wife. I'm doing what I think is my mission. My mission is to change the politics. My mission is to get African Americans out and involved again in the political process right here in Milwaukee. My mission is to turn this state blue again, and I don't mean in a Democratic way, but I mean, it's either red or it's blue because we got a two-party system. But quite frankly, I can follow whatever mission my heart desires until I run out of money because I'm a small corporation, but we are 50th in the nation in entrepreneurship here in the state of Wisconsin. Instead of giving $4.5 billion to a foreign corporation who's got a horrible track record, puts suicide nets around their foreign factories to keep the people from killing themselves because they'd rather die than work there, for what, a $15 an hour job? So Scott Walker can get campaign kickbacks in our uniquely corrupted campaign finance system.
And then,
here
of course,
in the
we're going
Wisconsin?
to bypass the Great Lakes Compact in order to give them as much water as they want. This is an international agreement, let alone that this thing started out as $3 billion, let alone that they only need to invest $9 billion to get the full benefit of the package, and let alone we are now, as Republicans, using big government to fund a private foreign corporation in order to do this, using eminent domain to take citizens' homes for them to do this, and to use a mathematical equation that is not anywhere near reality and not accounting for discounted cash flows, future dollars. The payback will never, ever occur. The only people getting paid out this deal are the politicians who have shepherded it through. And tell me, once again, what monitors and screens are going to look like in 30 years? Give me a break. This is a terrible deal all the way around.
Scott Walker picking winners and losers
all the things,
with our tax dollars.
All the things that Republicans say they are
Solyndra.
against.
Say it with me.
Yes,
Solyndra.
Absolutely.
Walker Solyndra multiplied by 9 times bigger than Solyndra. Next time I hear a Republican say Solyndra, I'm going to backhand them.
And next time they say anything about free market capitalism and small government, it's not small government to tap the pockets of the taxpayers of the state for $4.5 billion. That is not small government.
That's only $1,700 per household. Your household, my household.
So corporations in and of themselves, corporations are not evil. I mean, there has
paper
to be
constructs.
Well, they're just organizations of people put together to make a goal, and that particular goal is to make money. And I mean that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Some corporations are put up to be nonprofits to actually do some good in the community. But those corporations, and the big issue is not what the corporations are there to do, it's what they're not doing. And corporations will not take tax dollars, tax breaks, and give them to the community or give them to employees. They're going to give them to their shareholders. That is their obligation, to take care of the shareholders. If you don't do that, then you're going to get new board of directors, and people are going to sell their stock. Your stock will decline. That's not a terrible thing. That's how the market works. But don't, as a government, think that you're going to give them money, that's what they're going to do. It just doesn't happen. If you want some sort of organization to take care of the people, it's we the people. It's the government. It's our elected officials supposed to represent us, not the corporations.
I think I got a bad business plan, man. Being on a mission from God doesn't enrich me in the sort of Joel Osteen, I need a private jet sort of way.
Send me your money now or you're all going to hell.
I think we should go into the nonprofit sector with just lots of rollover. Come back with us. We'll roll over. More devil's advocates.
Voodoo economics.
Our economy's on fire.
Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Tune in to the Devil's Advocates this Friday, June 1st, for the official kickoff of the election season. Special expanded coverage from the Democratic Party Convention live from Oshkosh. Dom and Crew are Radio Row, and we have all the best friends. Commentary until 6, all the gubernatorial candidate and congressional Dem speeches as Resistance Radio brings you exclusive coverage until dark. That's this Friday, 3 to 8:30, an exclusive production of the Devil's Advocates and Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, 1580 AM, and streaming live at newstalk1510am.com.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
The Devil's Advocates. They refuse to do math on the radio.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Hey, Dominic. I know we hate doing math around here, but I've got the Infrastructure Report Card 2017 and Wisconsin broken out individually.
Ooh.
Do you know how many structurally deficient bridges we have in
Top
our
10.
fair
Are we in the
state?
top 10?
No, numerically. How many bad bridges do you think we have? Driving
1,200.
1,232? Good guess.
Yeah.
Better lucky than good. This little report, the 2017 Infrastructure Report Card, points out what happens when you invest in, let's call it foreign corporations, instead of your own infrastructure. While the nation's infrastructure earned a D+ in the 2017 Infrastructure Report Card, Wisconsin faces infrastructure challenges of its own. For example, driving on roads in need of repair in Wisconsin, we're talking about the Scott holes here, cost each driver $637 per year. 8.7, almost 9% of all bridges in Wisconsin, structurally deficient. Drinking water needs in Wisconsin are estimated at $1 billion, and wastewater needs in total, $6.33 billion. Whew. But we got plenty of money for Foxconn. 157 dams are considered to be a high hazard potential, and the state schools are have an estimated capital expenditure gap of $836 million. This deteriorating infrastructure impedes Wisconsin's ability to compete in an increasingly global marketplace. And I think this one sort of parallels Scott Walker's own propaganda. Success in the 21st century economy requires serious, sustained leadership on infrastructure investment at all levels of government. Delaying these investments only escalates the cost and risk of an aging infrastructure system, an option that the country, Wisconsin, and families can no longer afford. We're paying $637 extra per year, so Scott Hole Wanker doesn't have to raise the gas tax a nickel.
But we still pay. I mean,
we absolutely pay.
We're still paying. It's just
our cars break down more readily.
Maintenance versus tax.
Ball joints. There's all sorts of parts.
Money
in the car
out of your
that get
pocket's money out of your pocket. Doesn't really matter to me what you call it. Call it maintenance. Call it a fee. Call it a tax. It's money out of my pocket to exist.
But Scott Walker, unless he's punishing those that would, adopt a green policy and maybe get an electric car, Scott Walker can claim in a very Grover Norquistian fashion that he's never raised taxes. I mean, hell, I saw PolitiFact today. Taxes are lower today in 2018 than they were in 2010 in Wisconsin. That's Scott Walker's claim to fame. But I would point out, and I think this is a marvelous idea, genius, I tell you, up in Wausau, and we found this article posted up in Wausau, they got a billboard out there. ScottHoles.com. ScottHoles.com. And you go to it, and they this billboard proposes you go to this website, and there are literally pictures of the pocked, destroyed, crumbling Wisconsin roads. This is where you go to post them. We tried this on Facebook once. Be careful out there.
Don't do that while you're driving.
No, not at highway speed, because you're going to be busy dodging the Scott holes out there. But if you look on the webs at ScottHoles.com, someone's created a website to embrace Scott Walker's embrace of punting and not solving any of our infrastructure needs here in the state of Wisconsin. I would say leadership requires tough choices, and Scott Walker, he's not willing to make them.
Well, he's not a leader.
Well, mostly he sticks it to big government union bosses. How's that working out for the roads? Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, the happy hour. It starts right now.
Nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump.
Having a great time.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's.
Disgraced filmmaker indicted, high-level talks. I'm Barbara Cusack.
A grand jury in New York has indicted former film producer Harvey Weinstein on charges of rape in the first and third degrees and a criminal sexual act in the first degree. In a statement, Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance said this indictment brings the defendant another step closer to accountability for the crimes of violence with which he is now charged. A former North Korean military intelligence chief arrived in New York for talks with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in advance of a planned summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders addressed whether the June summit is still a go.
We're continuing to prepare for the meeting between the president and the North Korean leader. As the president says, if it happens, we'll certainly be ready.
The manhunt continues in Tennessee for the suspect wanted in the fatal shooting of Dixon County Sergeant Daniel Baker. Sheriff Jeff Bledsoe says the community mourns the loss.
Sergeant Baker not only served the community of Dixon County, but he also served his country in the United States Marine Corps Reserve.
A senior House Republican briefed on the FBI's Russia probe disputed President Trump's allegation that the agency spied on his 2016 campaign for political purposes. Congressman Trey Gowdy told Fox News,
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Meanwhile, Trump noted Gowdy's comment that the president could have picked someone other than Jeff Sessions, who recused himself in the Russia probe, to lead the Justice Department. Trump tweeted, and I wish I did. The maker of Ambien has taken to social media to say that racism is not a known side effect of any Sanofi medication. The response came after Roseanne Barr cited the insomnia drug in explaining a racist tweet that led ABC to cancel her show. I'm Barbara Cusack.
We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. You know, educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Golden Knights take on the Capitals in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals in Las Vegas tonight.
The Vegas Golden Knights will try to take a 2-0 Stanley Cup Final Series lead when they host the Washington Capitals tonight. Goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury says his team is built on resilience.
Our team has done a great job of sticking with the game plans and the game plan and keep playing the same way, keep coming at them, and nobody panic when we're down.
The Game 1 winner has won the last 6 Stanley Cups and 61 of 78 overall. The Knights are trying to become the first franchise in major sports in America to win a title in its first season since the Cleveland Browns did it in the NFL in 1950. I'm TJ Coutini.
President Trump made a pitch for sports participation at Sports and Fitness Day.
Sports teach young people the value of patience and perseverance, hard work and determination. You also know these experiences can't be replicated on a cell phone or a game console.
I'm Barbara Cusack.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Saturday, June 2nd from 12 to 4 p.m. Join Earl Ingram, Rep. Joe Casas-Amaripa, and Resistance Radio from the Valley Victory Broad Fry, the Democratic Convention's postgame party from the Midnight Club in Oshkosh. Union sponsors include Northeast Wisconsin Building and Construction Trades, Fox Valley Area Labor Council Painters Local Council 7, Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 400, introducing 80-plus Wisconsin Democratic legislative candidates. Tune in Resistance Radio Saturday for the political event of the year. Join the party and get a brat for the road.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee Public Schools Board passed next year's budget last night. The proposed budget restores $11.6 million to classrooms, but cuts more than 30 full-time positions at the central office. The vote was unanimous, and the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association is in support of the proposed budget. And a report from the Journal Sentinel says the Milwaukee police reports of the Sterling Brown arrest do not match what the body camera videos show. The police reports say the Milwaukee Bucks rookie was aggressive before they tased him. On the body camera video, however, Brown shows little, if any, resistance before being tased. And outside, we have rain likely today and tonight. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Mostly sunny tomorrow. Highs in the upper 80s in Milwaukee, mid-80s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we're sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour on Brady Street. It will get a little happier. We got a fine musician who's joining us live in studio in just a little while. First live music we've ever done in this studio.
Nice.
Other than my singing.
Is that what you call that?
Robert J. Conaway will join us in studio in like 20 minutes. But in the meantime, I'd like to get one more story out for our audience's consideration. I consider this a little indirect hashtag Walker bashing. The topic, Wisconsin manufacturers and commerce. This submission at Urban Milwaukee Online Daily by our friends from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Think Batman. WMC brags about legislative victories. I'm going to read from the piece. Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, WMC, brags that it won victories too numerous to mention from the Republican-dominated legislature last session. The boast appears in the latest issue of WMC's magazine, Wisconsin Business Voice. WMC lobbyist Scott Manley highlighted bills approved by the majority GOP legislators and signed into law by Governor Scotty Wanker. They include preventing state agencies from implementing rules that will cost business and other special interests more than $10 million unless the rules are approved by the legislature. Repealing the state's metallic mining moratorium. Repealing the state's alternative minimum tax, which is generally paid by upper middle class and wealthy taxpayers. Repealing the personal property tax exemption on machinery, which is expected to save businesses $74 million this year. Approving more than $3 billion in state aid and tax credits to help Foxconn build a liquid crystal screen manufacturing plant in southeastern Wisconsin. Manley capped off his article by pledging that WMC will throw its weight around in the upcoming election.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Here's a quote, Tom. WMC will dedicate considerable effort to supporting legislators who stood with our members on pro-growth reforms this session, he wrote. We will also work hard to ensure that the right lawmakers are in place to tackle the unfinished business next session. What's left to destroy on behalf of corporations, WMC? This little piece concludes, WMC has been one of the highest spending special interest groups on outside electioneering activities, think illegal campaign coordination, in Wisconsin, secretly raising and spending nearly $20 million since January of 2010 to elect GOP and conservative legislative and statewide candidates. And what they get back, what was it, Dom? A $350 million annual, let's call it a perk, a manufacturer and agribusiness tax credit. They get an interest rate that you and I as working stiffs will never get.
Tax rate.
0.4%.
0.4%. That's less than 1%.
Yeah, no, I pay up to 7.5% on my marginal.
That's because you didn't buy yourself a state legislator.
You know, if only I had known how cheaply Scott Walker bought. I mean, literally, I could have bought Scott Walker for less than I expended in taxes over the last 6 or 7 years.
I'm really curious to know of those members of WMC that are not, Foxconn, how they really truly feel about this outside foreign corporation coming in and getting all sorts of perks that say they don't get.
Well, Dom, they seemingly want the very same perks. Look at Kimberly Clark. Kimberly Clark used the very same tax cuts we talked about that Harley Davidson's using and taking advantage of to close down factories, benefit the shareholders. Well, Kimberly Clark's using their tax cut to close a couple of Wisconsin factories, right? And suddenly Scott Walker wants to give them money on top of the tax cuts to entice them, but not, any old deal, the Foxconn deal. Because historically, Weedick would give, let's call it $23,000 per job to incentivize some employer to, create new jobs. And the state would eventually benefit through wages and taxation. But when you got a manufacturer like Foxconn who will not pay, 0.4%, that's a few pennies between multi-billion-dollar foreign corporations and Wisconsin taxpayers. They don't have to pay any taxes effectively, 0.4. They get $4.5 billion in state and local incentives. Well, Dom, that's a hell of a deal if you can get it.
For Foxconn.
And Kimberly Clark, well, they want a similar deal, or at least Scott Walker's offering. And once upon a time, we gave $23,000 per job. For Foxconn, $200,000 per proposed job. And you can say, well, they don't get the money unless they create the jobs. Well, hell, you can hire the people, get the $200,000 worth per job.
Well, that'll be a nice downstroke on the robots.
Yes. That money will long since be spent. We will be on the hook for 25 years to forever as taxpayers.
50 years, if ever.
I'm not clear that we'll ever even break even on this deal. And we've also talked about if they don't make the large screens, maybe the little screens, well, they don't need the domestic supply chain either. They're not beholden to, let's call it, other companies in the state of Wisconsin. They can get those small glass screens from anywhere.
A lot easier to ship in.
But that's not what Scott Walker told us. He said 22,000 ancillary jobs, and that's what made this deal a really, really sweet deal for the taxpayers, despite the fact that Foxconn will not pay any taxes, effectively 0.4%, despite the fact that we're on the hook for $4.5 billion, despite the fact that this math only works with the 25-year payback if and only if 95% of these jobs go to, 90% go to Wisconsin workers.
And that 25-year payback was with $3 billion, by the way.
And I think it also assumes, Dom, that there will be ancillary jobs, which there are no guarantees, but since the fully implemented manufacturer's tax credit, the WMC, I'm sure they love it, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell, I'd love a 0.4% tax rate since that's been implemented to the expense of $1 billion every 3 years.
That's more than they had projected it would cost.
That's like triple what they projected it would cost. Thank you, Dale Coenga. You'd make a fine state senator.
Or a CPA?
Defend Medicaid. But anyways, all this money expended. And quite frankly, the manufacturing and agribusiness tax credit in the state of Wisconsin, $350 million per year, led to the loss of 4,000 manufacturing jobs and $400 million in annual wages in the sector. And that's the sweet deal that WMC's bragging about because they did just fine. The guy that owns that manufacturing corporation, he's doing really, really good under these policies. But the workers, well, they're shafted.
Well, workers, if you want a good deal, you go be an owner. 844-967-2789. Let's get a caller in before the break. Gary from Sussex, you are up. Thanks for calling. What do you got?
Hey, guys. I just got just a couple comments about Roseanne Barr.
Okay.
Right. First of all, Roseanne Barr really is not a conservative, but they're treating her as a conservative only because she voted for Trump because she hates Hillary. Okay, she would have never voted for Trump if there's been anybody else on the Republican side or somebody better on the Democratic
She ran
side.
for president as a Green Party candidate. I have no doubt that she's not a quote-unquote conservative, but let's not forget Donald Trump embraced her, said this show, it's all about us.
Yeah, I know, but I never watched Roseanne at all. I had no idea who the characters were or anything. I started watching it, and I enjoyed the show. I thought it was kind of funny, but there was an episode that there was her Muslim neighbor was over, and she did not feel really comfortable about the Muslim neighbors until after they were at a grocery store, and the cashier just started talking about towel heads or whatever. It was bad. So Roseanne stuck up. So she's not prejudiced against Muslims or anything like that. I don't know.
You mean the
But
character
thing is,
that was scripted for her stood up for the Muslim neighbor, Gary? The true colors of Roseanne Barr, they came through on the Ambien-induced Twitterverse last night.
I'm not sticking up for her. I really don't like her.
But why are you bringing it up then, Gary? Because we don't want to stick up for her either.
There's such a double. What she tweeted was stupid. I mean, these Hollywood elite people, they think that they can say it, whatever they want and get away with it. I mean, she's stupid. She really is. The way she's saying the national anthem, I thought it was so disrespectful, and I really don't like her.
So what's the double standard, Gary? What is
the double standard?
Yeah.
That the Hollywood elite can go out there and say anything they want about any conservative Christians and get away with it. She goes out there and says one thing about one of Barack Obama's aides, and they go out there and they kick her off the air.
All right, well, let me ask you this. You talk about the Hollywood elites. Let's talk specifically. Who said something racist about a Christian conservative?
What I'm saying is that the Hollywood elite can say anything about anybody at any time. They can hold heads up of the president. They can go out there and say they want him dead. They hope that he dies or
Come on, Kathy Griffin, C-list Hollywooder at best.
All right. So like Kathy Griffin, is that something that you think is comparable to?
And stuff like that. And then what's her name? She's dating the what's her name? The singer or her mom's her.
Gary, this call's getting really, it's devolving, my friend, because we don't want to talk about Roseanne. You don't like Roseanne, and you're using her as an example to make a point that I'm not clear on, sir, other than the fact you don't like the Hollywood elites. And
the point that I'm saying is they cancel her for doing a little tweet. Everybody goes out there and does tweets. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, people got to get a little thicker skin.
Do you think the tweet was racist, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so do you think people should be, fired for saying racist things? Do you think that's a reasonable response for an employer?
But the thing is, people have opinions on anything. You guys sit there and you rip apart Scott Walker, which is fine. You're right.
But that's not opinion. That's fact, sir.
I listen to you guys every single day. I love you guys. And the fact is, I don't really care what you say about Scott Walker. I like him, but you have everybody in the world to go out there and rip on him all the time. And you guys admit it. You say, hey, let's go rip on Scott Walker,
Yeah.
And that's fine. Now, let's go back to Kanye West. That's the other thing I want to say. Okay, Kanye West, just because he went out there and had a meeting with Donald Trump, you know what the thing is? Kanye West is saying, we had Barack Obama for 8 years. Nothing has got done. It actually got worse. And a lot of my black friends that I know said nothing has ever been done. They like Obama, but nothing has ever got
Well, the economy got a lot better, didn't it, Gary?
Listen to us. Kanye West, all he wants to do is say, let's try something different. Let's just try something different. That's all he wants to do. And I say great. I say great to that, and I'm not a Kanye West fan at all. At all. But the fact is, everybody thinks he's nuts. Oh, what's going on? He's having a meltdown. Oh, what's wrong with his brain? I mean,
Yeah, but did anyone compare Kanye West to apes, though, Gary? I mean, isn't that really what we're talking about? We're not talking about, ripping on someone. And thanks for the call, man. We're going to have to go to break here. We're not talking about, ripping on someone's policies. Scott Walker, his administration had me and Crudy arrested along with 300 other people. I got some issues with that. Scott Walker went into office saying he wants to divide and conquer. I have some issues with that. Yeah, we rip on Scott Walker. But when you talk about comparing African Americans to apes, and this is not the first time someone like Roseanne has done this sort of thing, I think that's kind of a different level. Even Kanye, to my understanding, even with the criticism that he got, I don't remember a whole lot of people coming out and saying racist things. They may say he's crazy. Maybe he is. But I don't remember people saying anything racist about Kanye.
Do you know that Kim Kardashian, Mrs. West, if you will, Kanye's wife, has got a little meeting set up at the White House with Jared Kushner? Oh,
I wouldn't, as long as it's not with Trump. Never leave your wife alone with Trump.
Come back with us. I don't even think his wife is ever alone with him. Hasn't been seen in public in 20 days. She might be plotting to fake her own death. Come back. More Devil's Advocates.
I believe that I'm being called to lead by helping to clear the field in this race so that a positive conservative message can rise to the top of the field.
On many sides. On many sides.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee public schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009
or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for nasty women everywhere.
Some people. And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can call us 844-967-2789.
Did you lose your earphones there? I'd blame it on Gary. Gary! Anyways, I'm not sure what Gary had us talking about. Roseanne Barr and Kanye West? Come on, Gary.
Gary? Who's Gary?
Let's get back to the phones. We got a few holding. 844-967-2789. I think it's going to be Joe from Tucson next. Welcome back, Joe.
Fellas, I was thinking, can I be your official foreign correspondent?
Foreign correspondent? Sure. You cross the border somewhere, Joe?
No, but I figure we're kind of like Texas, and it's a really kind of sometimes a weird place down here. So just speaking in terms of, well, I think I've said enough. Hey, Gary, those are real snowflake issues, and that's the problem. Like Roseanne, I mean, you can't defend that idiocy. It's the dumb of the dumb, and it's why. Well, why are we still losing to Trump? All these chumps say things like this, and we've still made this guy competitive. And I know I keep banging on about this, but the problematic features of this are like what Gary brought up. Or like I think it was you, Dom, that pointed out Barack Obama's economy. That's a double-edged sword because, we never really saw the benefits of those advancements. The average wage earner in this country right now makes $30,000 a year or less. And that's according to Fox Business News. They would pump it higher for Trump if they could, but they can't. That's one thing. Number two, I just looked on Zillow. The average cost of a house across the United States is $215,000. An article right next to it cited that housing prices are rising the fastest rate in 12 years. So in Barack Obama's time, we saw stagnant wages. We saw big debt incurred, but he never bumped above like an economy growth of 1%, maybe 2%. These are, we got all ecstatic because Trump broke 3. But here's the problem. In 2016, on the day Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump ran against each other, there's that little poll called right track, wrong track. The people that walked into the voting booth felt by a 67% to 29% that we were on the wrong track.
Got to cut you short, Joe. Appreciate the input. Robert Conaway coming next, playing us a little music in studio. This will be fun.
Oh, Gary!
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Here's how you get them. If someone invites you for a cocktail, you bring them beer. If someone invites you to dinner, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A report from the Journal Sentinel says the Milwaukee police reports of the Sterling Brown arrest do not match what the body camera videos show. The police reports say the Milwaukee Bucks rookie was aggressive before they tased him. On the body camera video, however, Brown shows little, if any, resistance before being tased. And you can join Resistance Radio's Earl Ingram for an important storytelling event on race relations this evening as part of the 50-Year Ache series. The event will take place at Anodyne Cafe, 224 West Bruce Street in Milwaukee from 6:30 to 8:30 this evening. Seating is limited. If you would like to reserve a seat, go to jsonline.com/50-year-event. That's 50-year-event. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looked so good.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Got a little musical experiment going on live in our Brady Street studios. It is the happy hour, and I'm happy to announce we've been joined by Robert J. Conaway. Robert playing the guitar there. That's an old trusty one. Welcome, sir.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Protest music.
Well, you know, it's the time to bring it out, I guess. You know?
I thought we were done with all this like in the 60s, man.
Well, yeah, but, you know, for what it's worth is popular again, you know.
It's one of our favorite songs.
Could be on the charts, yeah.
Now, you're playing an acoustic, but
yeah,
some extra air holes. Lots of breathing going on in that guitar.
Yeah, you know, it's hell getting old. And, you know, this guitar's been around a long time.
Oh, we're talking about the guitar or you, Robert?
Both,
J?
baby. yeah, both.
So, Robert, songwriter also, obviously.
Yeah.
maybe not so obvious for our audience, but I got a mutual friend, our friend Normco, Doug.
Yep.
Encouraged us to have you on. And I know he's been helping you with some music videos. Sir, you've got a new song that you've released via music video.
Yes.
And I was quite impressed. It sounded great, and I'm wondering if you'd consider playing it for the audience. But before you do, can you tell us, what is the name of the new song?
The name of the song is called America, Oh Say Can You See.
Wasn't that done already?
Well, I borrowed a little bit from there. I borrowed a little bit from Woody Guthrie. I borrowed from Catherine Lee Bates, who wrote America the Beautiful. There's little parts of it at the end that come out.
Simon and Garfunkel. You got
I love that tune too, but I couldn't fit that part in. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, sir, I'd love to hear you play it. I've heard it on video, but live performance, nothing like it. Right now, live on Brady, Robert J. Conaway, take it away, sir.
Turn out the light. What's wrong is right. Welcome to the new dark ages, and a home of the brave and the land of the free. They're trying to sell off our democracy. They don't believe in you or me, or we the people. Yeah, they want to privatize the Constitution, gerrymander the Bill of Rights, and legalize pollution. They declared hunting season on American ego. America, oh, say can you see? In the home of the brave and the land of the free. They don't believe in equality. They don't care about the poor or the sick or the needy. Yeah, they want to dumb it down, the whole damn nation. Deny science and defund education. Their trickle-down minds serve only the greedy. America, oh, say can you see? America, oh, say can you see? So turn out the light. What's wrong is right. Welcome to the new dark ages. In the home of the brave and the land of the free. Our forefathers fought for our liberty, for our right to stand up or sit down or to take a knee, to protest injustice and inequality. So I stand up now for a more perfect union. I stand for tolerance and brotherhood and a sense of communion. And I stand against hypocrites who lie to our faces and try to drag us back down to the new dark ages of America. Oh, say can you see? America, oh, say can you see? So turn on your light. What's wrong is not right. Shine a light on the new dark ages. This land is your land. This land is my land. From sea to shining sea, and crown I go with brotherhood. America, oh, Say, can you see America? Oh, say, can you see America? Oh, say, can you see?
Robert J., very well done, sir.
Love it.
I almost jumped in, saying a little backup. I didn't know exactly when to jump in. Now, do you take requests? Can you play Brick House? That's a moving song. Obviously, a theme that's near and dear to many in our audience. We're big believers in the First Amendment, in the protest movement, and I think there's lots to protest in this nation currently, Robert. Specifically, if I may, what did you have in mind? What would you protest? And could you sneak a Foxconn in next time?
Well, you know, my grandparents came over from Norway and Belgium. They're immigrants, and I'm an American. I believe in tolerance and brotherhood, like the song says. I believe that there's got to be a way to come together. It took me a year to write the song because it was all getting negative. I mean, how many things rhyme with tweet, you know? And I had.
You'd be surprised, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot. But I wanted to find a way to pull it together and try to be inspiring in a positive way too, and say, hey, come on, we can pull this together as a nation. And you know, I'm a bit of a dreamer, you know, and I don't have the answers, except I know that Foxconn is a rotten deal.
There you go.
I got it in for you there, brother.
Right.
Robert,
what rhymes with Foxconn?
Music has always sort of led the protest. Music typically led by the young people, but music always has been the way to protest authority, seemingly. How deep are your roots? How long have you used protest, or more accurately, music as a form of protest, sir?
Well, I lived in Crested Butte, Colorado in 1977, and AMAX, which is the largest mining corporation in the world, found molybdenum. And I wrote a song called Molly Be Damned. And that was the first single I ever put out, and we protested against them strip mining and having, you know, uncontrollable social problems from a large amount of people moving to a small area. And I got to sing it on Good Morning America, and nice. I had half of the single. My good friend Tracy Wickland had another song called The Mountain Song, which John Denver ended up recording. And so my roots have been in protesting or standing up for our rights and you know, trying to make a more perfect union.
Robert, we like to say politics, it's only politics. It's not personal, but I would add, until it becomes personal, until it's your backyard, till it's an issue that affects you. Well, 1977, you know, weren't a lot of people protesting, perhaps yourself, over a specific issue. But in 2018, it seems like everyone's got some reason to protest for something other than Roseanne.
Kanye.
Yes, Kanye, the master of protest songs.
Yeah.
Robert, here's my question. In this current environment we live in, you talked about trying to keep it positive, but protest is not always positive.
Right.
It's a rebellion against the status quo or the perceived injustice. There's plenty of perceived injustice.
Exactly. You know, and well, I threw some punches in the verses of this song, and I'm calling, you know, I'm drawing the line in the sand and saying I'm standing up for this. It's time to stand up now, and it's time to, you know, do what we can as individuals to try to pull this country back together. You know, everybody needs to get out and vote, and people need to be aware of the situation. So, you know, I'm not all dreamy about it. You know, I'm pissed off. You know, and I want to help do my share as little as I can, being just a songwriter, you know, and but this was my chance to make a statement.
It may not seem like it, but my little buddy's also standing here as well.
Nice. Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Those were the words of Robert J., a fine musician, joins us in studio. Robert, talked about the protests back in the 70s, and it seems like I was born in 71, and I try to pay attention, and I think I paid attention at an earlier age than perhaps a lot of people did that are my age now. And I don't see a lot of really changing. It seems like the more it changes, the more it stays the same. We come around with the same issues, be it war, be it the way we treat each other and minorities in this country and the immigrant population coming in. I mean, my grandparents came in from Italy and Germany. There was certainly issues back then, and there's still issues to this day. Do you think it's getting any better?
Well, no. Right now, I mean, a democracy is a work in progress, and I also think that capitalism might eat their young. I don't know. It seems to me that more issues are to the forefront right now in today's climate, the political climate. I think that more than ever, everyone has got to pay more attention as a citizen of the country, and but I don't think it's very, we're not getting along right now. And first thing we got to do is stand up. Stand up for our right.
Yeah,
I don't know if I answered your question, but
well, I think you're right. I mean, a work in process. It's never done. I mean, there's no ending of self-representation and trying to make a more perfect union. That never stops.
Right.
It's an ongoing. And I think even for myself, at some points, I've seen myself kind of ride the wave, and be involved and really passionate at some points, and sometimes like the hell with it all, and then just kind of turn it off for a while, and realizing that that's not the way to do it. We can't do it that way, because as soon as we're not paying attention, as soon as we're not standing up and fighting back and protesting and pushing and trying to get what we think should be done, well, someone else is going to fill that gap. Someone else is going to step up and think and have maybe a different perspective, and they're going to push it on us. What about the music scene, Robert J.? You got a guitar here. It's not a lot of EDM music coming out of you these days. What do you think protest music, and if there is such a genre anymore, what do you think of the music today as it pertains to standing up and fighting for your rights, as it were?
Well, I can speak about my song and how I've played it in every kind of spot. I played it in Waukesha. I've played it in places where
Waukesha?
Yeah, man.
How was it received in Waukesha?
Nobody paid attention there. But I've played it in clubs where people have gotten up and left. I've played it in clubs where people gave me standing ovations, where they stood up and said, "You're going to be on Colbert," And I said, well, I don't know about that. I'm just going to do my
share. Hey, you're close. You're on the Devil's Advocates.
I know.
Man.
Well, this is definitely on my bucket list, baby.
How about Fox News? Have you ever played Fox News?
No, but I can't wait.
I tell you what, we need to take a break here, and since the music's not going to play us out, we're going to ask you, Robert, if you'd be so kind. You got another tune you could play us to break with?
Sure.
This is Robert J. Conway, a fine musician and a protester of sorts, and seemingly a damn good guy.
Take me to the highway, take me for a ride, take me to the rise and push me over the other side. You gotta leave this town, I just wanna disappear. I got them ghost town blues, too many ghosts round here.
Tune in to the Devil's Advocates this Friday, June 1st, for the official kickoff of the election season. Special expanded coverage from the Democratic Party Convention live from Oshkosh. Dom and Crew are Radio Row, and we have all the best friends. Commentary until 6, all the gubernatorial candidate and congressional Dem speeches, as Resistance Radio brings you exclusive coverage until dark. That's this Friday, 3 to 8:30, an exclusive production of the Devil's Advocates and Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, 1580 AM, and streaming live at newstalk1510am.com.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be Union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only ordering classic corner tavern.
5 9s, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone? Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Well, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost are up there in the sky. They're reviewing my behavior to decide what to do with me when I die. Yeah, I gotta leave this town before I hurt someone. I got them ghost town blues. Come on, let's hit that highway and run. Run. Yeah.
Oh man, Gary, turn the mics on.
Damn it, I forgot. I was enjoying the music.
Folks are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. That is the music of Robert J. Conaway, stage name Robert J. Robert, thanks for joining us again, man. Appreciate you sticking around.
Well, thanks for letting me be here. It's great, man.
Absolutely. We're all about the hippie protest song, man. Anytime. How did you get into it? What's your deal? Where you're from and why you're doing this now?
Okay, well, I've been a blue-collar musician ever since I graduated from college in Detroit.
Detroit?
Yeah, I went to Wayne State University.
Oh, my old man went to Wayne State University.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, so, but my dad was from upstate Minnesota. My mom was from Duluth. And he worked for the Canadian National Railroad, so we moved all over the country while he was going up. And, yeah, I had a guitar ever since I was 3 years old, and I should be much better by now. But, yeah, so I just kept it going, and then once college hit, it kind of took over. And then when I graduated from college, I jumped in a band van, and I'm still jumping in a band van.
So have you... Go ahead, Crudy.
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you have a band or are you a one-man band?
Well, I play solo a lot right now, but I also play with my band that used to play a lot back in the day, the Moon Gypsies. And we just did a gig on Memorial Day. And so Moon Gypsies do maybe half a dozen gigs a year right now. That's what we do, yeah.
So has this been paying the bills the whole time? Or as a blue-collar guy, you got to do other things to keep on going?
You can't expect a musician to pay all the bills.
No. Well, I've had a few fitter jobs along the way, but nothing major. But 6 years ago, I just ran out of gigs, and so I started working in a factory for 6 years. But as of last summer, I took my Social Security, and
nice.
And I'm back to playing 15, 16 times a month. And, recording during the day and shuttling my kids around. I'm kind of a late blue baby boomer, so I've got some youngsters.
Right. Robert J., if people want to hear more about more of your songs or get some of the, where can they find you on the internet? Where can they get a hold of you if they want to book a gig?
Well, the best way to do it is go to robertj, just the letter J.com, and you can reach me at robertj@robertj.com. I'm on what am I on? I'm on Facebook.com/Robert J. Singer-Songwriter. And then I'm on YouTube. You can just find me by Googling or by YouTubing America, Oh Say Can You See by Robert J. And you'll be able to see the video, which Doug Normington from Normco.
Well done video.
Oh, he did a great job, and it was really great working with him. He helped me so much to bring the vision of what I had in mind out and at a reasonable cost. So, yeah.
Not a bad deal, all in all. Normco, our buddy Doug, he does fine video work.
Yes.
Robert, before we run out of time, Robert J., I was wondering, and this show is going to come to a completion here in a couple minutes. You got one more in you, man. Can you rock us out, protest us all the way to the quitting time? I'm going to take that as a yes. We are the Devil's Advocates. That's Robert J. playing us home. Have a great night, everyone.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. Think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. There's 1,000 people in the streets carrying songs, singing songs and carrying signs. I mostly say hooray for our side. Think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Battle lines being drawn. No one's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds. I mostly say hooray for our side. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Hate to wreck the mood. Ron Johnson joins us tomorrow in studio. Robert J., thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi, folks. This is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should